Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is CLX Foundry Live, and I'm your host, DJ Blue PDX. And joining me right now from our studios live in Kansas, it is Paul Steffens, our lead technical expert, and of course, our master builder of the day, Zach Killingsworth. Gentlemen, we've got a monster to build, but we also have a couple other monsters to talk about. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the incredible giveaway PC that we're doing right now. It is absolutely awesome, and if you want to know more, type exclamation GiveHorus. Now, there's lots of different ways you can get entries, including what you all already know is the codes. To get codes, you could definitely check out our social media. That is YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. You can also jump into our Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You can also find them on my channel, both here and on the other platform. So, that being said, good luck for it to everybody. And right now, let's jump into something that has a lot of new stuff that we've never done on the show before. What do we got? We're doing some for Anthony in Illinois.
Yeah, so Anthony has configured one of our RAWs off our website, and he really went all out with this build. So, starting out, we've got an Intel Core i9-13900KS for our processor. That is getting overclocked, and we are upgrading the thermal paste on that. And to cool that, we've got our Corsair iQ H150i Elite. These are starting to pop up a whole bunch. We've done a couple on the show in the last week.
They look good.
For our motherboard, we've got the MSI Meg Z790 Godlike Max. I don't think we've ever had one of these on the show before. These Godlikes are
not.
Top of the line right here. And for our memory, we have 4 sticks of Corsair 32 gigabyte DDR5 6000 speed RGB in white. So a total of 128 gigs there. For our storage, we've got a 2 terabyte NVMe M.2 drive from Patriot. And for our case, we obviously have the NV7 in black. I believe this cooler is in black as well, whereas the last 2 times we did it, it was in white. For our fans, we've got 12 of our Corsair AF RGB Elite fans. It's first time for the show, so we're excited to get into that and show you all how those are connected and what they look like. Excuse me. For our power supply, we've got a 1600 watt Be Quiet. It's a Dark Power 13 80 plus titanium. So first time for the show on that as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a great build. I'm excited. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this Godlike. Now, we've seen some pretty extraordinarily high-end boards on this show, especially from Asus. But we've never done any of the Megs at all. Now, the Megs that we do offer are pretty impressive. We've got the Godlike doesn't really have an equivalent. So let's take a look at this thing and see what we got. All the paper, all the plastic. I love it. Don't forget, by the way, if you have questions or see something that you're just not sure about, make sure you ask in the chat. We'll get it going. My God, this thing is wicked. Wow, look at all of the shielding on it is just amazing. So this is in a little bit of a different configuration than we normally see. So, Paul, let's talk about those screens.
Yeah, so we've got, I mean, you can just see from looking at this how high-end it is. We've got all this heat shielding with screens on there. Now, this is, the biggest difference with this board is this is an eATX, which means extended ATX.
Yeah.
That's why you can tell, I mean, you can just tell from looking at it how much wider it is.
Yeah, it's an absolutely impressive machine. And its I/O is truly impressive. So let's take a look at that I/O, the I/O shield. Okay, so starting at the very top, you've got your clear CMOS and your flash buttons, which makes it nice and convenient right there. You don't have to open your system up. It's got a 2.5 gig LAN port that is followed by a USB 3.2 Gen 2 10 gig Type C and a 10 gig Type A. Down below there is the rest of the 3.2 Gen 2s. And then you've got a mini display port, along with 2 mini display ports, 2 more USB-Cs, Wi-Fi 6E, and Bluetooth 5.3. Plus your set, yes. That board is wild. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm still going through all the things on the data sheet about it, like, what? This does what? It is definitely a godlike machine. Now, for a godlike motherboard, we got to have a godlike CPU, and that is going to be our i9-13900. And that is the 13900KS, the special edition. Paul, we don't really see a lot of special editions. What is a special edition?
Yeah, so a special edition is something Intel releases every now and then, usually with the launch of a big new CPU, and its clock speeds are always just off the charts. So this is a 24-core, 32-thread processor. You've got 8 performance cores that have hyper-threading, and then 16 efficiency cores. It's got a base speed of 3.2, and it will boost up to 6.0.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Absolutely love it. Now, so Anthony did opt in for upgraded everything when it comes to this board. Oh my God, look at the backplate. That is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So we're getting our backplate on there. So we're going to be, by the way, overclocking this for the CPU, overclocking the GPU. Did they get upgraded? I don't see on here where it says it, but I don't think they did for the upgraded thermal paste, though.
Yes, they did go for the upgraded thermal paste.
They did? Okay, good. Wow, so they just went all out. This machine is basically 5 seconds from being Skynet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, for our upgraded thermal paste, what are we using?
So we have our Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut is what we will be putting on there. It's a really top-of-the-line thermal paste. We've been using it for a while on our thermal paste upgrades, and it just performs really well. Allows us to get a better overclock and more stable.
Yeah, and it's got, so by the way, this thing has got some pretty impressive cooling systems in it. It's got a direct touch cross heat pipe, which we do not see that very often. The IO shields are amazing. I am actually looking through this right now to figure out what is on that right side.
This?
Yes.
M.2s.
Oh, that's your M.2s?
This board can house 7 M.2s.
That is ridiculous. And those, of course, those are going to be our hypers, aren't they? Yeah. That's incredible. That's truly impressive.
Yeah, we've seen boards before where it almost looks like there's another RAM slot over there, and then you put a card into that RAM slot that houses your M.2s, but this one just has that big heat shield on top with 2 slots right there.
So we've got, geez. Yeah, these are all PCI, well, wow, we've got a PCI 5. And then a bunch of PCI 4s. I'm sorry, not PCI, the M.2 slots. That's incredible. All right. And that just slides back on. How easy was that to take off?
It's just one of the quick release.
It just slides on. Oh, there we go. That makes it so much simpler.
And then there's little hooks, and they hook on here. It's the exact same thing as that.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's, again, ease of access, ease of use. Good stuff. Now, obviously the M.2 that we're going to be using for the operating system is going to be a 2 terabyte Patriot P300 M.2 NVMe SSD. One thing we have been seeing, like you mentioned, a lot of is the new cooling solution when it comes to what Corsair has been bringing out. And the IQ seems to be pretty popular, especially given it's got that LCD screen on it that provides you all sorts of information, including temps and whatever else you happen to program with it.
Yeah, we've really started seeing those gain a lot of popularity here. Like you said, being able to just out of the box see your temps is really nice. But we've seen people, put all sorts of GIFs or whatever they want on there, which is really nice.
Okay. Now, obviously, we're going to be using the NV7 case. This is a gorgeous case. You've seen us use it before.
That means that goes away because of the extreme.
And it is going to be able to provide some extreme cooling.
Let's save that.
Okay. Next up, we've got our RAM. No, there we go. That's our M.2. Now, how do you know which? Obviously, with the fact that those two up there are so close, are those also the same speed as that one right there for slots?
I believe those two on the right are fourth PCIe 4.0, and the one that we're putting in is a 5.0. So typically on 99.9% of motherboards, you want to use that top slot. But on a board like this, I mean, they're all really fast. This is a Gen 4 drive, so it's 4.0 going in a 5.0 slot. So it's only going to go at the speeds of the 4.0. But what's nice with those, they are backwards compatible.
Okay. Now, as for the RAM, this is truly impressive. I've been a big fan of this for a minute. This is our, I believe it's Corsair.
Correct.
Yep, and it is DDR5 6000, 232 gig sticks. We've got a full 64 gigs there.
2 kits by 2.
Two kits by 2. Oh, got it. Okay. So we've got 4. Good Lord. This board is going to look wild. Absolutely wild. And of course, DDR5 6000 is currently, I believe, the highest speed that we carry presently. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yep. It is a blazing fast memory. We will definitely see higher speeds as time goes on and DDR5 improves. But for now, that's the leading edge, and that is a blazing fast.
Okay. Get those popped in there. And then we are going to move on to figuring out our fan situation. Now, for the fans, we've also gone with Corsairs as well, and those are 120 millimeter AF RGB Elite Blacks. And these fans look really, really good.
Poses to the front.
There we go. Yeah, let's do that. Yep.
Okay. Now, Paul, let's talk about the fan configuration and how many we can fit in this case.
Yeah, so this case can fit 12. You could probably go up to 15 if you were going to go nuts and do a push-pull on your radiator. But we're going to have 3 in the back, 3 in the bottom, 4 in the back, 3 in the bottom, 3 in the top, and 2 in the rear right here. So a lot more fans than what you usually see in a build. It's kind of one of the things that stands out about the NV7 is you can have 2 120 mil rear exhaust fans right here.
Yeah. And to answer your question, King Thuglas, by the way, welcome back. How's it going? That is actually a 2 terabyte, I believe, yeah. It is a 2 terabyte Patriot P300.
Correct.
Yes. Watching the homies speed build a PC. Yes. Yeah, right? Yeah, this basically could run a small country. For real.
One of these shows we'll get like a couple booths up here and rush build 2.
Oh my God, let the boys compete. Now, one thing to point out is what you noticed on the bottom of the frame is that the bottom is actually angled. Now, that has a really, really great purpose because once you get it angled, that air actually pushes out and not only feeds air to the graphics card, it also bounces air off the front, which assists in the cooling of the glass plate and causes a circular motion to really help get the hot air pushed right out of the system. Thanks, Natas. Welcome. It's going to be a fun build. Now, Paul, you have a bracket in front of you. What's that do?
So this is for our intake fans that are on the back side of the case. So we're going to be putting 4 fans onto this, and then we'll install it all as one piece inside the chassis. Before I get going on these screws, Zach, does this look right here, this way, doing all 4?
Yes.
With the cables coming out this side? Perfect.
Okay. Ordy, yes. Yes, that is correct. Well, I mean, I'm not completely So the question is, how's my throat doing today? I mean, I'm not completely pulling a Miley Cyrus now, but it's obviously still got a little ways to go. Yeah, it was just because of the internal swelling that just kind of, wrecked it.
You ate some bad applesauce.
That applesauce.
Yeah, allergies are a mess. Okay. Now that you said applesauce, I would love some.
Yeah,
applesauce.
I've been craving some applesauce and Cheetos lately.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Actually, I have both of those. Sam's Club size in our pantry.
They're so
Kids
good.
go nuts over them. They're those little like green pouches.
Yeah.
And you can get the ones with vegetables.
Okay.
That used to be part of my regular regimen of food when I had my very first apartment was the little fruit cups.
Oh, yeah.
Because they would just sit in the fridge and then I could, but they were, you'd find them on sale and then you just buy them because, at that age we were starving, as children do. And
Put a little bit
ability
of
to make
cinnamon in
money
there. You're
It
good.
was a hot disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, King Douglas, he said applesauce and Cheetos. Now, what kind of Cheetos? Are we talking spicy Cheetos, the fire Cheetos?
The big Cheetos puffs,
The puff?
twists,
Dude.
the curly
The
cubes,
puff twist.
Yeah.
so
Okay.
that you could
Okay.
dunk it into the applesauce and get a bunch of
Oh, wait,
applesauce.
what?
Yeah,
What?
you cross-contaminate your
Okay.
Cheetos and applesauce. It's the best.
I'm going to be really honest. That sounds really good.
Because okay, so you're sick, you eat bats, right? Bananas, applesauce, toast, and
Soup?
yeah, whatever the S is. So I like my toast to be Cheetos and
Nice.
applesauce. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Question from over here on the Kick side. It says, whose PC is this for? This is for Anthony in Illinois. And Chili says you both deserve to you deserve to go to Azkaban
If you don't
for dipping
boy.
applesauce and Cheetos. Okay, God, this is a big case. It's
This is
so
gonna
huge.
be
Now-
the heaviest build ever.
With
With that power supply,
how
that
heavy is
graphics
board?
card.
Let's talk about that for a second.
I'm leaning it up against my chest. That's how I'm able to hold it.
This build currently is running right around 7211.
Alrighty. EATX. Extreme.
Bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Yeah. It is an NV7, S. Williams. Absolutely is.
And we're making it look a little small with an extreme in here.
Now, because it's an EATX, do you have to add any type of an extender to have that motherboard mount?
No. So if we go to overhead, the normal, so this is where our standoffs are on the far side. So we've got a whole finger length that is just sticking to the right of the motherboard.
Now, does that mean you have to, how are you going to get those other fans in there?
I will drop those in here before I do anything else, because that's going to be a little tight fit. I might have to actually do that before. Thanks, DJ, for
Yep.
Let me see this real quick.
I was just noticing.
Yeah, so typically on these intake fans, we always put this in before we mount our AIO because the AIO goes up top. So yeah, we'll see what it's like with this EATX board.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was sorry.
No.
I'm glad I noticed it because I was thinking, wait, hold on, that overlaps.
Yeah, this is how I work at my desk. It's like, yeah, all right, we can do this. Oh no, I need to undo this real quick.
So when I'm sick, like now, I do a lot of soups. I do like a lot of pho, a lot of like hot and sour soup. Man, hot and sour soup, I like to just burn it right out. It's great. Now, the interesting thing about this is that EATX is going to be covering the grommets. So that's going to just kind of add to the mystery of where the cables all go.
Yeah, so those grommets are actually at a 90-degree angle, so we'll be able to bring them in through the side. You just won't see them coming in through the front of them.
Draw over there on the red side says, give this to me. I know, right? Anybody ever have borscht? I have had borscht, actually. Yeah. A nice noodle soup usually helps for me. Yeah, definitely. And I like it. I will put in some hot chili oil in there. Oh my goodness. Or chicken noodle soup with hot chili oil.
Ooh,
like
yeah.
Chinese chili oil. Oh my God. With the flakes. Yeah. And that is awesome for me.
I've been using a lot of that
Red
in
or
my
white borscht.
eggs.
I have to go red borscht because I'm allergic to dairy. Does CLX have financing options? Actually, they do. It's through a firm, and you can actually apply for it right directly from our website. Which makes getting the PC of your dreams that much easier. Okay. Now, if you notice from here, there's a big box up on top of the motherboard. Now, that is our power supply housing. Paul, why is it up on top? Usually we see it in the bottom. What kind of advantage does having it on top give the PC?
So having it on top or the bottom is really just how the manufacturer has engineered the case. So they've decided to put it up top. That way we can fit all that extra stuff down in the bottom. If you guys have seen us build an NV7 before, you know there's doors on the back side of this that we show a little bit later for your extra drives and cable management and all that stuff.
And as Nicole just pointed out, we actually have a firm and catapult. So, awesome. Did not know that. That is cool.
Look at all them fan wires.
Now, this is a great shot right here, so you can see where that power supply will be going in eventually. And that is a heavy power supply. Let's be fair. That is going to be a big boy. But you can notice the slanted angle of the base, and that is where the fans go in on the bottom. And again, the reason that is helpful is because it's going to help circulate that air. And as it pushes that air up, it's going to keep it moving. It is going to be basically bringing the air in from the back, shooting up around the side, and then it's going to exit not only through the top, but through those dual twin fans on the back, which having two fans in the back for exhaust really does help pick up the speed of how much air you can flush through this thing.
Yeah, if you like airflow, this is definitely the case for you.
And of course, if you have questions, people, please throw them out. We would love to answer them. Wow. You can also see right here up front of that shot is the actual filter on the bottom of it, which helps keep the dust out. I do like the fact that you've got just added lift for added room for air in the back. And since we've got this great shot here, Paul, can you talk about what those little fingers are?
Yeah, so you've got a couple section of fingers here now. There's some right here on the bottom, and then there's some here under the I/O shield. And what that does is you can actually run your cables in there, and it holds them in there. That way you have some nice cable management on the back. And the other thing the NV7 has is a whole door that covers this up entirely. So very nice on that. If you got a bunch of peripherals plugged in, you can manage them all pretty well with that.
Five Night Freddy at? Oh my gosh. Unless it's FNFA, that would be interesting. But can you use PayPal to buy a PC? That's a question that I don't have an answer for. And as for the size of the the power supply unit, the power supply is going to be a 1600 watt, and it's a Be Quiet Dark Power P13, which we have never done on this show before.
Yeah, we'll get
but I will say,
we'll get that power supply out here in just a second.
Yeah, because it's a titanium, and that's a baller when it comes to power supplies.
Yeah, you don't see many of those.
Wait a minute.
Oops, sorry.
Was that so? That wasn't the code then, Ivory. Okay, just checking. Okay, do you guys ship to Canada? Absolutely, we do. We ship all over the world.
We ship a lot of computers to Canada, actually.
See, Ivory, I knew it. I knew it. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, Ivory never screws up typing. Come on. There's your code, people. HNY24 FNFA 5 Nights Freddy's at.
Okay.
Feeling neat. Feeling all right. There we go. Are we doing DJ style codes in this stream then? That is an excellent question. Listen, I'm down for that. You know me. I love it. I'm also glad that I figured that out immediately. Otherwise, I would have just kept scrolling up. All right. And this is a great shot to see these fans. I really do love the way that the blades look from this side for the Corsairs. They look like flowers. But when they get going, the colors on these are, the designs on them and the colors are absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a very, well, the fun thing about being a dark build, the white ram is going to stand out, but that color is also going to bounce off of that white ram. And then you've got all the color inside. It's going to be great. Now, one thing that's really cool about Fantex cases, and I love talking about this, it's a really, really neat feature. They are known for helping with cable management by adding these brilliant Velcro straps. So why are those important, and how can they help in the building process?
Yeah, so what these do, these are the Velcro straps DJ's talking about right here. These really help in your cable management. Now, we still like to use zip ties, and we make everything look really clean before we use those. So we'll get everything clean how we want it, and this helps them get them close to the case to, you know, just secure them a little bit better, and just puts a nice finishing touch on it.
Les Williams asks over here on the Twitch side, does CLX offer free consultations for first-time buyers/builders? Absolutely, we do. Our customer service team is the best in the industry. I will hands down say that. Also, if you want to just play around on our configurator, it's basically a foolproof system. You can't really screw it up because it'll tell you if there's something that's in conflict. But if you haven't been there yet, definitely run over and try out clxgaming.com. It's actually fun to just build a dream machine and then see what you can do with it. But if you do have questions, and all sorts of questions, just feel free to give a ring to our customer service. They are truly wonderful people.
Okay.
Go window shopping? Yes. Like, because I've been doing it lately just because I know that I'm going to have to. My streaming PC is on its last leg. So I've been going over there and looking at how to build a budget build, how to build an extreme build, thinking about all the different, add-on stuff that I would need to fit in there for like capture cards and all of that. Build the dream machine and then buy me, and then be sad that no money to buy it. Yes, also that. But who knows? Maybe you'll win one, and if you win one, awesome sauce. I don't know if it has legs, but it probably has feet. Yes, there we go. What kind of fans are these? These are actually Corsairs. And these are Corsair AF. They're 120 millimeter AF RGB Elite. That is the official title of them. Now, Paul, when it comes to fans, how do these fans scale up next to other fans?
So these are definitely more on the high-end side of fans. They've got good airflow, and the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things with fans now, is the RGB and all the controls you can do. So these will all plug into a box, similar to the Game Dias, but it's obviously Corsair's box here. Since we have 12, each one of these boxes can use 6. So we're going to have 2 of these boxes that connect together, and so it'll give you a lot of different options just from the get-go, but really where you can get into the customization is downloading the software, which we will do once this goes into testing, and then you can play around and do pretty much anything you ever want with them.
+1, I love it. Nicola's in the house. Here we go. Imagine if she gave us a half a code. Oh my God, a half an entry. That would actually, please don't challenge her to do that, because she'll do it. So ZMX Woods, can you work at CLX Gaming? Well, I can definitely check out the website. You can see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. If you're local,
they are
come
local,
in and apply.
To Wichita, Kansas. If you're anywhere near, come walk on in, say hello, meet and greet.
All right, I'm going to start getting this power supply unboxed. I'm excited to get one of these open.
Yeah, this is going to be nuts. So again, this is our most top of the line power supply. It's a 1600 watt. Now that is a lot of power, but also it means that it's not going to struggle whatsoever. It's also an 80 plus titanium. Now we very rarely see titanium cards on this show. So Paul, what is that? Let's talk about the 80 plus rating. How does that work? And why is that an important thing to look at when you're shopping for a power supply?
So what that 80 plus rating, that's an efficiency rating. So to even get 80 plus for a power supply, it's got to be 80% efficient at 3 different loads, which is usually 10%, 50%, and 100%. And then as you go up from just our standard 80 plus to bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium, it just gets more and more efficient as the chain goes up. So essentially what that equates to is the power that's being sucked out of your wall versus what your system is using. So typically we recommend going with at least bronze or higher. It's usually just a better quality power supply that has that rating. And then where you really want to get full use out of your titanium, we typically see those on like crypto mining rigs where they're really trying to be as efficient as possible. So this is just going to be a really efficient power supply, and typically once you get up into that 1600 watts, the efficiency rating is going to be pretty high. Like I don't think there's going to be, it's going to be kind of hard to find like a 1600 watt with a bronze rating. Typically it's going to be, you know, one of the higher end ones.
Let's see here, Kimechi. Oh, thank you so much. You know what? We absolutely love doing it, and we appreciate that. Kimechi, I'm going to try and not destroy your name, but it's Chaib? Is it Chaib? Kimechi Chaib says, absolutely loves the team, loves the show. We're so glad to hear it. Absolutely. Now,
thank you.
We do have a good question coming in from Macho Love. What up, Macho? And that question is a 1400K worth the extra money over a 1300K?
So that really depends on what you're using with your system. If you're just doing some regular gaming, you know, you can, either one of those is going to perform really great. If you're doing a lot of stuff that's processor intensive, you know, the 14 gen is going to perform better. But both of those CPUs are great choices and are going to run games really well.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Now you got that.
It's like a
Plugging in that fan controller in the back.
very durable power supply right here. All metal. I know, Zach, me and you were talking before the show
how heavy
just
is
about
that
how
thing? It looks like
sturdy
it's
these
super
are.
heavy.
Yeah, it's definitely got some weight to it. It's obviously a little bit longer than most power supplies because it is a 1600 watt. Typically you're going to see that. And it'll have a special power cable as well. That looks obviously a little different if you know what that usually looks like. And then we've got all of our connections right here. So I'll start getting the cables out, figuring out what we need for this build, and get those all laid out next.
Okay. Now, Avid Decoy asks a good question, and I know what my answer is, but let's let the pros answer it. As a gamer, what is the better processor, an AMD or an i9?
That's the question for the ages right there. So once again, it depends on what you're gaming as. I prefer to game on Intel. There's a lot of people here that prefer to game on AMD. It's really kind of, you know, whatever you want. Back in the day, you know, AMD was definitely more for budget builds and all that, but ever since Ryzen's launch, they've really stepped their game up. So honestly, both brands are really great.
Yeah, now, but it is personal preference. I personally, I will game on it. I game on Intel. I know that now the X3Ds, don't get me wrong, those X3Ds are wildly advanced concepts, and they work really well. But for me, I game on Intel, and I stream with AMD. I only use AMD for my streaming gear, which sounds weird, but yeah. So, Jay-Z Ross asks, what hub do you use to connect that many fans?
Yeah, so we're using a Corsair hub for these Corsair fans. Now, each one of these, like I mentioned earlier, has 6 fans can plug into them. Since we have 12, we'll have 2 boxes that connect together, and that way everything syncs up properly.
Over on the red side, Nasty Yoda, what's up? Welcome in, glad to see you. Asks, is the RX 6700 XT enough for 1080p gaming?
Yes, for sure.
And yeah, Chili Sam, by the way, Bittersweet 84, didn't want to miss that. Thank you so much for the sub, 6 months in. Appreciate it greatly. What does CLX stand for? complicated logistical xylophone.
Nailed it.
Yes. Completely ludicrous x-rays. So, oh, by the way, okay, so can I talk about what happened on Tuesday after the show? Just because I got to experience something that was really kind of crazy cool. They had a portable CT machine. I've never seen one of those. But the computer they had it attached to was absolutely wild. Cool Lads exhibition? Yes. I'll tell you what would be really cool for an exhibition would be to do this show live from a show. Actually, imagine doing an actual live build class at a DreamHack or something, where people get to bring in their parts, and then you walk through the process of how to build it out.
That would be great. I think me and Zach would both enjoy that a lot. It's always fun.
So long as there's enough lighting, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll make it challenging.
Barge. Barge. There we go. 4K 60 hertz or 1440p with higher refresh rate. What do you all prefer? I'll start. I need minimum 120 FPS at minimum. Otherwise it's frustrating. So I game it 1440p 120, except for I have a 1440p monitor, and because we're doing things with Star Citizen, there's a way to actually allow your system to build things out in 4K and then compress it into 1440p, which, like for Star Citizen, worked really, really well. So I'm getting that dense level of clarity, but it's all being put on a 1440p monitor. 280 or 360 millimeter AIO for cooling with a with an overclock setup. Oh God, good question. I would say go. Yeah, Paul.
What's that?
It says 280 or 360 for the cooling of an overclocked setup.
Yeah, so your 360 is probably going to cool a little bit better than that 280. Both are going to cool great, but if it was me, I'd go with a 360.
So 280. Oh, so it's two 140s instead of two 120s. Got it. That I was doing the math in my head, thinking, is that what? How? Yeah. So now we've got everything going in from all the fans. Now, so that you understand what Zach's doing, Zach, explain the process of why you're plugging these fans in the way that you're plugging them in.
Yes. So, like Paul has said, we've got two fan hubs. So I am plugging everything in my lower region, all of my lower 6 fans into this hub down here. And then I'll plug my top 6 fans into another hub. I know that with this power supply, I won't have a whole lot of room up in my power bay. So I'm trying to kind of work on the bottom half so I don't have to deal with all of this cable, and then install the power supply and then finish the top fans. Because I don't want to cover up any of my area that I need my power supply to sit. If that makes sense.
There we go. Now, one cool thing that you can see right here as well is that rear door. And that rear door is actually really cool. It's got a cool purpose.
Yeah, so in that door, we've got a couple options for 2.5-inch drives. There's the one that you can see right there on the front by Zach, and then if you open it up, there's another bay on the back. And then also behind there's a couple posts where if you've got extra slack on your 24-pin cable, you can wrap it around those posts, which is the first time I've ever seen that in a case.
Yeah. And I do love the fact that this is again, now when you look at this, like compared to the 011, this is more of a 3/4 depth on that motherboard. Because notice, everybody, the motherboard doesn't actually sit on the back of the case. It's actually got a space back there for all of your cable management. Paul, why is that kind of a design? Well, how is that more efficient?
So I think it really gained a lot of popularity when the 011s came out, because it just really gives you a cleaner look. Your power supply being in the back instead of under, and all the grommets that are in there really allows you to hide those cables really well. So I think it just really shows off the components and what's inside your PC a little bit better.
Yeah, and I will definitely give major props, because my system runs really cool. Ironically, given how much I push it, but you don't have to worry about it because all that stuff is in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never actually felt my. Yeah, no, I never even notice when my power supply is on, like when it's heating up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm imagining that it actually keeps the power supply cooler as well. Like it's not heating up the inside of the case, but it's also keeping the power supply cooler.
Yeah, it allows your power supply to get fresh air in from that backside that we're working on right now, and then exhaust it right out the rear.
Yeah.
So none of that air gets in the main body of the case, and then same goes for your extra storage drives as well. Obviously, those don't produce a ton of heat, but a little bit helps.
Yeah, which is cool. And there he goes. Double sticky tape wins every time. And yes, Jay-Z. Yeah, only one USB pin. Forty's got another one out there. 200 entries. Let's go. There's another code, people. It is DOR5. Door 5. District of Ridiculousness 5. Department of Random 5. That's one thing that I miss about now going to the shows, is the fact that I know that I can just have ridiculousness on in the hotel room at all times.
Our boy
That
Rob.
was for Twitter, guys. Oh, there we go. I thought I missed one up earlier.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay, like that.
So, apparently I've previously used it. Yes, it was from Twitter, apparently. The ridiculous? Yeah, ridiculousness is hilarious.
Let's do, that's gonna require 4, right?
No more hands down.
Yeah, it came
Okay,
with
cool.
and it came with a second one, which I thought was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Because they've got 2.
2 of them, yeah.
Wait, for what?
So for our video
gorgeous.
card cable, where usually we have to use the dongle to plug a bunch in, this power supply comes with one of these, but it also comes with 2. So a lot of the newer power supplies are coming
Really?
with this cable in, but I've never seen one come with 2. So it's nice that that's there.
And then
Wow.
this is
Well, that's awesome.
the big power plug too. So.
Oh, yep, I got it.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Behind the scenes,
the
I'm
beef.
prepping. Yeah, I was pointing that out. So obviously that end on that power supply is different, but this is the special cable for this. So anytime you get to that 1600 watt, you're going to get a beefier power cable with a little bit different pinning on it.
Yeah. And that pinning is important because you can't, if you really don't want to put a lower cable on that.
And then there's 1, there's 2.
We definitely have more of those if we need more. I figured
There are no drives.
2 would be.
Okay. Yeah. Because there's not a 4 one in there? No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nope, I think they're all 2
3
and 3. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So then we'll get these plugged in.
So this is really showing off why modular power supplies are so great. We're figuring out the exact cables that we need, and Zach can plug those in right here. If we decided it would be better, we could install the power supply without the cables and plug them in there. But on this build, it's a little bit easier for us to get the cables into the power supply and then put it in as one unit.
We have 2 really great questions coming in. First of all, I finally gave in over on the purple side. Says, can you show that PCU PSU to next to a standard size one.
I don't think I've got a standard power supply up here. Let me
No,
see.
that's another 1,000 watts.
Yeah, we got another giant one for the after show build.
Uh-oh. And JC says, my 850 watt came with the actual slot and cables for my GPU, so I didn't have to use the 2 CPU converter.
Yeah, that is always great. I'm really glad that a lot of the power supply companies are doing that. Hopefully it'll just continue and that'll just become a standard.
Contour says, I wonder at what point they're just going to give up on the whole X. Oh, you're talking about Twitter. Yeah. I refuse. It's funny. And here's what's hilarious about that. Every article that I have read, every single article that I have read, always says Twitter, always says X, and then parentheses, formerly known as Twitter, in every article. Like, he's never going to admit he's wrong about anything. That's correct. That is absolutely correct. All right. Man, look at that thing. That's huge. You're barely able to even fit that in there. That is going to make it really tight. Mm-hmm. But that's a beautiful meshing on there. You can see that intake fan. And that'll line up with the meshing on the back of the case.
Yep. Okay. Now for the fun.
Now, does that hinder your ability for the tie-ups at all with it being that big?
In certain specific cases, yes. Let me show you how big of an apple we can fit in here. That's perfect. Yeah. So I can kind of take my hand and fist it up back there. I do have a fan hub, a RGB hub that I would like to get snuck back there if I could. That's why I wanted to get this in, because I needed this to take priority on using my room up, and then I can haggle all of these cables around it to get it to work. Okay, let's
see here. Is there a reason why you plug the radio fans into the controller rather than the board?
Yeah, so with these fans and why we want to use the controllers, that way we can control the fans and the RGB part of them with software. Now these Corsair fans, some fans don't even give you an option to plug them in the board. They only let you plug them into the controller. These fans do have a traditional 4-pin header on here, so that will get put together. And I believe if we wanted to, if you were absolutely against using a controller, you could plug these in, they would spin, you just wouldn't get any of the lighting effects.
There we go.
Okay, let's fold.
Now, just for people to figure out so they understand, what are you separating these out for?
Like normal, I will work on the case cables and then fan cables and then power cables. It makes it a lot easier to kind of separate stuff out. I'm working from the back of the power supply to the front, so my SATAs are plugged in as far back, so I kind of want those to be on the bottom, and then I'll want my 24-pin and those bigger cables that I need to actually reach into the case. I will get those guys sat on top of this so that this is pretty well hid back behind.
Yeah, that's a really good tip for if you're building your own PC and you're going all out like this and your space is limited for cable management. Because if Zach went with the front cables there, it would clog up that area, and then when we got to the cables that are closer to the inside of the chassis, it would be a little harder to work with.
And JZ Ross says, yeah, it's a beefy PSU. That is wicked huge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I know that mine was. I have the 1300 watt, and I think mine was similarly absurd long.
Yeah, the 1300 watt is quite a bit longer than the standard size.
Yeah, but you guys fit it in there, and I appreciate it. That's what I appreciate about you. And this is the fun part to watch also because you're getting to see those straps getting used. I'm surprised we don't see more companies using the Velcro concept.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch. Makes our lives a lot easier when we're managing all these cables.
This is the interesting part. So right now, Zach has to figure out how to get all the cables through the routing holes so that there's minimal visibility, but also without jamming up the works because he's still got to put in the graphics card.
Mm-hmm. Don't twist on me that way.
Now, one thing we haven't talked about in a while is proper placement of a PC. Obviously, you want to make sure that you've got airflow. Paul, let's talk about where you should put a PC and what you should take into consideration when doing so.
Yeah, so a lot of people either are going to put their PC on their desk or on their floor. For me at home, mine's on the ground because my desk isn't super big. So what I do there, since I have carpet in my basement, is I just make sure that I've got, I cut out a rectangle piece of cardboard that's a little bit larger than my case and set that on there. That way I keep that gap between the bottom of the case and the feet so you can get good airflow in. Now, if you've got it on a hard surface, you don't really have to worry about that. It's going to breathe really well.
Speaking of breathing well, Ivory both agrees and disagrees with everything that we're saying. Ivory also has a code. It is HNY24-6FV7. 6 Foxtrot Victor 7. Okay, and there's that door finally. Now we get to see that. And it's that 24 pin is really got a long cable. Why do you think they make that cable so long?
It's typically for if the power supply's in the bottom of the case and you got to go up to the top. That way it'll work in most chassis.
Oh, gotcha.
We've definitely had an issue with it in the Elite case, the Fantex Elite. That's a much taller chassis than even the NV7. And so some power supplies, your 24 pin actually gets stretched pretty tight to run it from the bottom of the case up to actually where the 24 pin connector is on the motherboard.
We're going to do a big brain move there.
We've never actually done an Elite case build on this show. That could be really fun to do once. I mean, we might have to move the cameras back a little bit
yeah,
to get it in the shot. Jason's over there we're not moving anything right now. Don't touch it.
Yeah, this NV7 is big enough. No, we'll definitely get an Elite up here. We talk about it quite a bit, so we do need to get one on the show.
And a lot of the Elites that are built are, Zach, because they're usually server mounts, correct?
Sorry?
Are you the one who usually works with the Elites because you're usually the server guy?
Yeah. We, Jose and Gage are actually working on an open loop right now. I think they've got 2 of them out there. Those are pretty big boys, pretty boys. But
nice.
Yes, every once in a while. We haven't seen one recently. It's kind of been a while.
Can we throw up a picture of what one looks like real fast, just so people understand what we're talking about?
Here we go.
I don't know if we have one available.
916.
Yeah. Those things they're just beautiful but huge. Jay-Z asks, the Corsair 4000D airflow case has the Velcro. It's a little bit of an older case, but I love it. Only reason why I'm thinking of changing is because of the newer ones with all the fans like the one you're building. Yeah, absolutely. The added fans are incredible. So, we're going to actually get a picture of that Elite up on screen real fast so you can see this. This is this obviously is big and boxy, but imagine something even taller than this. Look at that. It's huge, massive, beautiful. Don't get me wrong. That thing is gorgeous, but it is gigantic. And it comes in awesome colors.
Yeah, that's all custom paint work that we do here in-house. If you want custom paint work done, that is something we offer on some select chassis.
And the hand painting is second to none.
Here we go.
So, Paul, walk us through that paint process, because this is something I feel like everybody's going to flip out about.
Yeah, so we have one custom painter here. His name's Dave. He used to do custom paint jobs on motorcycles, actually. So it's really cool to see him use all of his experience and painting PCs now. I mean, we've done everything you can imagine. We have these Galaxy builds that look really great, especially on the Elite. Every time we get one of those, it's really great. Each one of those is done by hand. It's a pretty long process because we use all automotive paint, and then we finish off with a nice automotive clear coat as well.
Yeah, the clear coat is really what I love. Well, it's funny. Like one of the things that okay, so you guys know I'm a car guy. The Bentley Sports Coupe has what's called a no scratch paint. The reason is because they do the paint, they do a sealant, and then they do 13 layers of clear coat on top of it.
Oh, wow, that is
and then
a
another
lot.
sealant. So that basically, it's virtually impossible to scratch those cars. And I get it, but like, imagine the amount of weight that adds to a vehicle. Uh-oh, too much in the door jam?
Oh, no, just getting it to where it's perfect.
JC has a great question. Would an 850 watt PSU use all of those fans with a 3090 Founders Edition and Ryzen 7 7800X 3D?
Yeah, so 850 watt would probably work for that. You're definitely reaching the upper limits there since you have that 3090. That's really the big power draw in that build. So I'd probably recommend going up to 1000 watt. But if you already got like an 850 watt at home, you could definitely use it.
How important is it to have a little overhead with your power supply?
It's relatively important. If you got that little bit of overhead and your power supply isn't running, at max capacity all the time, it's just going to give you a little bit more life and just a little bit more buffer too if you want to upgrade. So definitely recommend with going some overhead, usually 10-20%. There's a lot of power supply calculators you can look up online. You can input all your components, and they get pretty in depth on those, even down to the RAM and the M.2s and the fans. So that will really give you what your system is using, and then obviously go with a little bit higher than that.
Yeah. I know one of the funny thing about this case is big enough already, but then you add in there that you're adding all this hardware in there. How many watts does a fan like that use? Good question.
So I don't have the exact wattage that these use. These are relatively low wattage since they're using that controller box. Each one of those boxes just uses a single SATA connector, so it's not too much.
So S. Williams asks, do you guys do engravings on cases? We do custom graphics, but I don't know. Do engravings happen?
Yeah, we haven't done any like engraving or etching or anything like that, but we do have our custom printer that we've done a lot of builds on here. Y'all have seen them before, and we can do anything you want. So if you got a design you want to send into us, we can work with our team here and get you taken care of. Like for your
Part of
PC,
me wants to
DJ,
take
back there, that was all custom
yeah.
design done with our printer.
Part of me really wants to just pull the back plate off on this and just keep it up front so I can show people.
Yeah, the back of it looks really good.
It's I feel bad because you can't really see the back of it. But it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I'm going to go ahead and get our 4090 out. So we've got some more desk space now.
Now, this is a 4090 Founders Edition with the amazing opening right there.
I already pulled it out of its giant brown box that you all have probably saw last time. Just because with this build, this customer went all out, so we needed as much desk space as we could afford.
Okay. Now, this is a Founders Edition card. Why is this different than other cards?
So the Founders Edition, what that means is this comes from NVIDIA. This doesn't have, like a third party like MSI or Asus or anything like that. Now, typically, the Founders cards, I believe when we were talking about it last show, they used to be called reference cards, and they just had blower coolers on them, so they didn't perform as well as having actual fans on the card itself. But these new coolers that they put on these cards really work great. You can see we've got one fan on this side, and then if we go to the back here, there's another fan. So this is actually a 2-fan with one on each side.
Interesting. And you asked what's a 4090 Founders retail for, just the card? I want to say like right around 1,600, maybe $2,000. Depending on where you get it from. God, that's gorgeous. I mean, to be fair.
Looks great.
They don't make ugly cards.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you feel like the fact that it has closed sides on opposing ends, that it has less ability to cool the card?
So that comes down to the engineering of how they're cooling it. So having closed ends is definitely going to help. Now you can see back here by our video outputs, you've got these fins that look like a heat sink here, and that's what it is. And so this fan will be pushing air in and blowing it out the back right there, whereas this one is blowing air through these fins.
Oh, those are fins. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, that makes a lot more sense then. Will the GPU be vertically mounted?
No, not.
I do not believe that's no. But we are definitely going to need a anti-sag device. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a beefy card. Obviously, it's a 4090, so it's going to be pretty heavy. This case does come with a solid anti-sag bracket that we will be using.
Okay, so Jay says, what website does that? Because I also use 3M.2s and 6432 gigs of RAM.
Oh, for the power supply calculator? Just in Google or whatever search engine you use, Ask Jeeves, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just type in PSU calculator, and you'll see a bunch come up.
His name is Mr. Jeeves.
Mr. Jeeves, yeah. Ask Mr. Jeeves.
Mr. Clippy.
Jay-Z mentioned something interesting. I have the 3090 Founders Edition, and I had to replace the thermal pads inside mine to get it to work perfect because my temp 2 was really high with the stock thermals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Interesting.
Definitely have heard that before. That's kind of cool, though, getting to take apart your card and see what it all looks like.
Now, Bogey brings up a very good question. With the way that card works, blowing the air downwards towards the case is very different than what your normal graphics card does. So will that not create turbulence? That's an excellent question.
So this fan right here on the back is actually sucking air in and exhausting it out. It's the reverse of this. So it's going to be all flowing the same direction. So there will, in any case with any extra fans on any components, you're gonna have a little bit of turbulent air, but this is gonna go with the correct airflow of the chassis with it being installed like this.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I'll put this down here right now. Before I forget.
Well, that's interesting. So now, when it comes to the pressure inside the system, this is one of the things I love about this is how much positive pressure it's actually going to create. So you've got your 3 intakes on the bottom, your 4 intakes on the back, and then you've got 3 exhausts up top with your radiator and your 2 in the rear. So that creates a positive pressure environment. Why is that important in a build? How does that help with your system?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the reason we like to go for positive pressure on our systems is that means we have more air coming in than exhausting. So all the air coming in is going to come through where we want it, where it's designed on this case. If we had it in the opposite way, where we were taking more air out than we were putting in, it would create a vacuum, and that will cause it to suck dust, pet hair, whatever you've got going on in your house inside all these little cracks and crevices that won't go through the air filters.
Yeah. Rap Bandit says, hi, what is a PC? That's a parts copy. No, it's a personal computer. There you go. And Jolly, welcome. I'm trying to get into CS Live. That's great. And the reason I bring up about the positive pressure is because, like, when did I get this? This was last summer. We finally got me this last summer.
Maybe, yeah.
I haven't. It has been 6-7 months. I have not had to go in there and clean anything out. And I can honestly say there is no dust in there. So that positive pressure really does help that.
Okay.
Show the tech guy. Surprise him. Yes. Silver Charm. Hi. First time message. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. As a question, are those Corsair fans? Your website does not have them for a fan choice. Please advise. Thanks.
Yeah, so these are Corsair fans. I believe these were a special order for this customer. However, sometimes, when we run out of stock, we'd like to not have them on the website or at least show that they're out of stock. That way we don't run into any delays with your PC.
Okay, so now we're getting to the next piece of the puzzle. So what's this part of the project, Zach?
I need to get this fan controller into a spot that is flat so that the back door can close.
I believe right now everything is plugged in, obviously minus the video card. So this is kind of the last part of cable management here.
I don't want that behind you.
Varix TV over on the green side says, hi, I'm taking part in your giveaway. I really hope I can win the PC. You know what? I wish you the best of luck. I wish everybody luck. I'm so excited, especially when it's somebody who's in our chats regularly and on our streams regularly. I'm really looking forward to that day where we can celebrate with somebody that we regularly interact with. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to celebrate with Cheetos and applesauce. And juice boxes.
Juice boxes. Little known fact, DJ wishes I win a PC. Yes, Jilly. Yes. I wish everybody will. At least that's what you tell yourself. I wish I could win one of these PCs. I am ineligible. Capri Suns or Get Out. Yes, Marge, that is correct.
Should we bring Cheetos and applesauce to the show on Tuesday?
Yeah.
We can get some ASMR.
And it will be the better juice, Tang.
Where did this
Ooh, the drink of astronauts.
Yeah.
And orangutans. Mm-hmm. Is that what they call it, Tang?
Nicole
I
has
have no idea.
I just thought of that.
Nicole has a very good question. Where in the world did Cheetos and applesauce come from?
I told you, when you get sick and you have an upset stomach and you need to eat your bats, you got your applesauce and your toast. And if you're a lactose intolerant person like me, Cheetos have just enough cheese to where you're okay.
Tang or Sunny D, Zach?
Ooh.
This is like the AMD versus Intel question,
Right.
Yes.
I personally drank more Tang as a kid growing up.
Okay.
We were never a Sunny D household. I grew up in a household that never had Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Oh.
So,
Man, I miss being able to eat cheese. I'll say that. So, Emir85 asks, is that an 80 or 90 FE GPU? It is a 4090 Founders Edition. And because yours is the 4090 in the same case? Yeah. Yep, that's what we're going to be doing. Disloyal's back. Hello, hello, hello. Warhand. Hi, what's going on?
too much.
Never had Kraft dinner night? You know, I love, listen.
We have those a couple
I
nights
love
a
me
week
some
at
Kraft
my
mac
house.
and cheese. Gosh, yeah. My mom used to like put more cheese on top of it, and then bake it.
Ooh. One of my youngest daughter last night, we were eating, just had a mixture of yogurt and PB&Js, and she decided to take apart her PB&J with the jelly side and eat it face first. She had like the whole piece of bread pressed against her face
Open
and was
face.
like eating the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's great.
First of all, open-faced PB&J is the only way to do it. Otherwise, your bread is out of proportion. You need to. Peanut butter jelly should always be done in thirds. Bread, a layer of peanut butter, and then your jelly, and then you eat it like that, like toast.
Okay. Yeah,
I
cut
toast
down
my
all that.
PB&J. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, that is really good. Like a grilled cheese, but like a grilled PB&J.
Yep, and then I just do it, and again, I eat it open face.
Get that
And you
peanut butter
get
melting a little bit.
Yeah, it gets nice and sloppy.
Okay, I feel like that's gonna be.
Sounded weirder than I meant it, but yeah.
this is gonna be the case.
Sweet Chuck says, I was always a Velveeta shells and cheese guy, never did the craft dinner. Oh, Velveeta, yeah, Velveeta shells and cheese is always really good.
That is really good. We would get that as a kid too, but that would be like on fancy night.
Quackluster over on the green side asks,
If we had mac and cheese, it was Velveeta melted down with
Velveeta.
milk and noodles.
Yeah.
yeah, Velveeta, I know that I can't eat it, but God, it's good.
I still prefer Kraft, but at Velveeta, it's
Yeah.
pretty good too.
Quack asks, are there any more codes? I will actually have 2 codes on my show today as an apology for missing Tuesday. So, Winter's like, screw Velveeta. I hate that stuff. And Warhand asks, do you know if a 4070 Super is better than my 3080?
That is a good question. So your 4070 Super, I would say yes, it's going to be better than the 3080. Now both are going to be very close, and in certain scenarios that 3080 might perform a little bit better. That being said, the 4070 Super is obviously newer. It's going to get you're going to get a little bit more life out of it than that 3080.
And you've got the upgraded ray tracing. DLSS 3.
4090.
Yeah.
EATX. So
Yep. All right.
Look at that. Here we go.
You know what's funny is with this board, it makes that card not look super huge.
Right. I was just going to say the same thing. I'm like, wow, that looks smaller than it should.
Yeah.
Oh, that was satisfying. Like,
Homemade back? Yes. Nicole, absolutely true. So we discovered something recently that because of it, that I can actually eat aged cheeses. So we bought a couple different types of Gouda and aged cheddar, and so we're actually I'm gonna talk to my housemate, and we're gonna actually plan out and do a baked Gouda mac and cheese.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe use some bow tie pasta or something. Actually, you know what? Okay, personal preference here, because I like the flavor, is I like the rotinis, the multicolored rotini noodles.
Oh yeah.
The
Those are fun.
little spinny things, and there's like the reds, the greens, and the whites.
Anything that's got some sort of layer to it that it can hold that cheese.
Yeah. It's cavatappi. You do a smoked mac with almost. Oh God, Nicole. Heck yeah. You're now making me want to go upstairs and get cheese. Okay, right? Because reasons.
Forget about tomorrow. Eat cheese now.
Right? All right, now we're routing that final cable back there. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Oh, I have a big question, guys. You know how normally there's the bar that goes on the side? That's not going to fit on there with an EATX.
correct.
Is
Right.
it?
Yeah. So we are going to have to, once this is done and we
Interesting.
get it all going, we got a couple different options that we can do for anti-sag.
Want that shoved back out.
And Zach is looking at routing things, so let's talk about it. Zach, what are you experiencing?
So because we have a lot of other cable, but not a lot of VGA cable, the routing has to be a little bit different. So I'm just going to get it to where it can look at least a little bit pretty coming through here, hopefully.
Nice. Like a little bubble there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, can I do that to there? How does that look on the front? Yeah.
There we go. It's called Rainbow Rotini. Rainbow Rotini.
Pretty good.
Yes, basically they're RGB noodles. It just gives you extra XP.
Please go.
Yeah, that EATX board is
There we go.
that's a thick puppy.
Okay. And bend out and up.
Yeah, and like you
Right.
said, with it covering up the top part of those grommets, it really does kind of close that window that we have to run our cables through.
Oh, oh. You are going to be long enough. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I need a little bit of light.
I do, however, like the fact that you can go up with that cable. It looks a lot thinner, like than the rest of them. You know, like those ones in the past. It actually looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice for not having to worry about the dongle right now. That would make this even more challenging.
Yeah, that would be a mess.
And we've got the clip on the bottom.
Okay. Look at that. Zach, figuring it out.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Get it. Plug it in, plug it in.
I'm not going to
Blade.
manage that because that's managed in that little channel valley.
Yeah, that looks good.
Thanks.
Alrighty.
I think that.
Well, I think we are at the
Feeling
point.
good about it?
Yeah, we're gonna just do a little bit more of inspections since this has so many cables going to it. But I think we're almost ready for panels.
Well, while you're doing that, I would love to take everybody here on a journey through our amazing website, like we showed earlier with the Elite case. So let's jump on that and check it out. Okay, so at clxgaming.com, we try and make it as easy and simple as possible for you to get the best PC you can build and get it for a great price. So from here on our configurators, you can choose the size of the device, whether you're going to go with a really small build or a very tall build. We've got all sorts of different cases and styles. You can choose your processors, your graphics cards, everything is right there, and you don't have to be an expert about it. The reason we say this is because our configurator is designed to not allow you to select incompatible items. In the event that you select two things that don't necessarily work together, that little green button above my head, that is going to go yellow. Now, for example, and I always like using this one, in the event that you say, pick a DDR5 motherboard and DDR4 RAM, it's going to give you that option of like, hey, you can use either this RAM with that board, or you have to choose one of these boards to work with that RAM. Once you resolve the conflict, blam, it goes back to green, and you're ready to go. Now, we offer a ton of different services, from overclocking the CPU and the GPU, upgrading your thermal paste. We've got other accessories such as sound cards, capture cards. We've got streaming gear like the Beacon Mix Crate and the Beacon mic. Plus, you've got options for t-shirts and windbreakers. I love this windbreaker. I practically live in this thing. It's great. And it's all there for you. We even got routers, chairs, and monitors. Like, you name it, we got it. It's a one-stop shopping center. But if that feels a little bit intimidating, don't worry. We also have ready-to-ship models. Our RTS models, there are dozens of designs, and they're incredible. And you can still configure them from there if you want to, say, tweak something. Maybe you want to put a different fan on there. Maybe you want to change out the hard drive. All of these options are available right there, and it's ready and set, tested, and it's going to go to your home, and you're going to have fun with it. Now, with that being said, we've also got custom designs and other things. So for all of your gaming needs, check it out. It's clxgaming.com. Now we're getting this back together, putting it all together. There are some things to take note of when you're doing this, though, just because this case is a little more in depth than, say, an 011. Because you've got that rear door, which I can't wait to show you all how this looks. This rear door is incredible.
Yeah, we'll show that. Let's actually.
Show that.
We'll go ahead and show that now, so you can see this back door right here. It's like what we were talking about. This is something that's pretty special to this chassis. So this shuts. This is what the back of your PC looks like. Now, when you go to plug everything in, this just opens up. It's on some hinges, and there you can plug everything in. Now you guys can really see these fingers and how they come in handy. You know, you got all your USB ports filled up. You can run all the cables this way. You got video cables. If you want to run them down and out, you can do it that way. A lot of different options to run your cables on this build.
And to answer your question, I know he asked it over there, but on the green side, with a question coming in, what motherboard that is? This is the MSI Meg Z790 Godlike, and it is pretty godlike, to be fair. This board is wild.
It's huge. What other motherboard
hey,
can
Raven,
fit 7
Wing, how you doing?
on it?
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah. Right, the case is super sexy. When we had these at PAX East, when they first kind of debuted, PAX East of last year, that door was fantastic, because normally, you know, you got your PCs being displayed, and they've always got cables coming out of them. This one was beautiful to just stand around. Okay, now you got all your sides on. Now, while we're talking about putting the rest of these sides on, Paul, I did mention something that we got to go over, and that is the testing. Where does this go after it's built?
Yeah, so after this machine is built, just like anything we do here, it goes to our testing and integration department. So the first thing we do there is get into the BIOS of the machine, make sure all of our drives are showing up correctly, 2.5 inch M.2s, 3.5 inch, all that good stuff. And then after that, we'll make sure RAM speed's set and maybe mess around with a couple other settings there. And then once the BIOS has been set, we will actually load the system. So that's where we'll load the operating system. If you picked any games off our website, that's where we would do that. Overclocking is where we do that as well.
Like this system.
Which is, yep, this system is getting all that treatment. If you didn't pick any games on our website and you just got an operating system, that's all we're going to put on here. We don't put any bloatware on our machines. You're not going to get a bunch of different versions of antivirus or any of that stuff. Something we pride ourselves on, honestly. Just giving you a clean, fresh install.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll stress test the system, run it through its paces. We'll do a 12-hour burn-in, and that allows us to make sure everything's stable and really makes us really make sure like this system getting overclocked, make sure that's all set up. That way you don't run into any issues when you get it at home.
Now, Chili Sam has a really, really great question. What weighs more, the PC or the hosts? I'm going to be honest, that might weigh about as much as Hayden.
True. All right.
That's funny. And then the cost of this build is a little over $7,200. What do you guys think about the RTX 4080 Super releasing on January 31st? I think it's going to be wild.
Excited to see it. I'm sure we'll have it on the show for y'all.
Yeah, this case is gorgeous. No keys, hi. Well, let's go ahead and punch it on and see what we can do.
Oh, I could turn it on from the I/O shield if I wanted to.
Oh, wow.
Just saying, I didn't have to reach up.
Look at that, is gorgeous.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
That does look pretty
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, so once we get this once we get this into testing, then we can really start messing around with the RGB and doing a whole bunch of different stuff with it.
All right, so let's go back over one more time what's in this amazing machine for Anthony in Illinois. So this is a CLX Raw NV7 Black. It is by Fantex. It has got an Intel Core i9 13900KS processor mounted on an MSI Z790 Godlight Max memory board. It has a total of 64 gigs of Corsair DDR5 6000 RGB white RAM with an RTX 4090 Founders Edition as the graphics card. The operating system is going to be on a 2 terabyte Patriot P300 M.2, and of course, our CPU is going to be cooled by a Corsair H150i Elite LCD XT360 AIO Plus. We've also got 12 Corsair AF RGB Elite 120mm fans, and it's all powered by that giant Be Quiet PSU 1600 watt Dark Power Pro 1380 plus titanium, which is just wild. That power supply still just it breaks me. Oh my gosh, this is looking great. Absolutely beautiful.
Yep, so you can see it kind of going through its cycles there. It's the motherboard's talking at everything. And I don't know if you guys can hear the fans. The fans are running up through its paces, so sometimes they'll get they'll get louder, but they will be running quiet once we get all the profiles set up and everything like that.
That's just absolutely wild. Now, today we've got, as usual, the show's going to be in 2 parts today. In a moment, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you're going to get to spend the afternoon with Zach as he continues to amaze you and wow you with all of his wisdom while building more PCs, which is great. Now, to stay up to date and possibly get codes, all you've got to do is make sure you show up to our shows. That is Tuesdays and Thursdays. Codes go out on Kick on Tuesdays at kick.com/CLXgaming. On Thursdays, here on Twitch, and that is twitch.tv/CLXGamingTV. You can also find them on our socials. That is YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Threads. You can also find them potentially in our Discord, and that's discord.gg/CLXgaming. You can also find them on my streams. Like today, I've got 2 I'm giving out after the show. So, that being said, I think we're ready to go. So, for Kyle and Jason in production, Paul and Zach, DJ Blue PDX, don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks for being here.